Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm just a jealous guy. This is part 2 of the video Brian Smith, foreigner farming in the Philippines, telling lies about Linda. Just a quick recap of the previous video. You'll remember Brian Smith attended the pond to do a pond checkup and found Linda leaving the pond with all her belongings. Remember, she'd quit, she'd bailed out, she'd abandoned the pond. She was going. Now, so that, and then Brian Smith's going to have to do an emergency harvest on the pond because now he doesn't have a caretaker. So we then saw a video. Brian Smith had dropped Linda at the highway. See a video then of Menina's picked Linda up at the highway, taking her back to her house and filled some water bottles that Linda had. So with her, and then they've taken them and put them back at the shrimp pond, which totally contradicts what Brian Smith was saying. Linda wasn't leaving the pond at all. She was going to go get some water, and she had with her some empty water bottles and at best one little plastic sort of bin liner bag with her. So those two videos were on the same day. Then Brian Smith's also put up another video. He uploaded on the 20th of the 9th, 21, and it's called Emergency Shrimp Harvest. And shrimp harvest was actually on the 19th of the 9th, 21, which was Brian went to do the pond update on the 19th. Menina picked Linda up to get her some water on the 19th, and then in the afternoon they've done a shrimp harvest. So I'll try and get through this as quickly as I can, but so this is Emergency Shrimp Harvest 29-21 from Brian Smith, a foreigner farming in the Philippines. This is a transcript from the video, so word for word what Brian's saying in the video. Hello everyone, welcome to Foreigner Farming in the Philippines. Well, it's worked out. This is basically turning into an emergency harvest. The harvest crew was ready today. Linda basically quit today. So again, it's still on to Linda's quit, even though Linda's taken water and everything back to the hut. So that's right at the start of the video. But as we at about 2 minutes 39 here, as it turns out, let's see what time it is. About 4 o'clock. What time is it exactly here? It's 3:47, so low tide is at 5:10. So at the time he's doing the video, it's 3:47. Now, if we remember, they got to the pond. I pointed out a bit of a timeline. They got to the pond, it was 11 a.m. They've opened up the pond check, letting some water in. They've wandered around the pond looking for, see if there's any shrimp. Once it's filled up with a couple of inches of water, then they've put the checks back in. William then went off to go and drop Linda at the highway with all her belongings, and while Brian Smith waited at the pond, William has then stalled the car, flattened the battery, walked back to the pond, So obviously would have tried to get it started for a while, maybe check the battery, do all that. Then couldn't get it started, flattened the battery, gone back to the pond with Brian Smith. They've come back to the car. Obviously I couldn't get it started, but then realised they should have got the battery from the solar at the pond. So William's gone back, got the battery, and then they fitted that to the car and started, and they've dropped Linda off at the road. So all in up, I reckon minimum 2 hours from there. So that'd be 1 p.m. in the afternoon. They hadn't organised anything to do with the harvest at this stage. Nothing was set in motion. They hadn't organised a harvest, so Brian Smith says, because Linda only just quit and left the pond unattended. So he's got back to the pond. It's 3:47 from his watch or his phone or whatever he looked at, and so that's probably 2.5 hours after they've dropped Linda off. So in that 2.5 hours, they've managed to get hold of Maricel, who's managed to get hold of a bomb, the shrimp buyer, who has then organised, and from the video there's 4 or 5 Filipino guys come to do the harvest. So 4 or 5 of them. So a bomb's organised 4 or 5 men to come and do the harvest. They've all obviously met at one place because they've come in a bomb's truck, and as Brian mentions a bomb's truck being there, and they're there ready to start and ready to get into the harvest at 3:47. So 2 hours, best 2.5 hours. They've organised all that. One, in a Western country, I don't think you'd organise that, but in the Philippines, I don't think you'd be able to organise a full pond harvest in that time. So I find that very hard to believe that Brian Smith organised a harvest within 2.5 hours from zip, no conversation with the bomb to have a harvest, to having them there ready to start. Now, could be wrong, but I don't believe that would have been really possible. So then, if that's the case, is it possible that harvest was already organised for that afternoon, and Brian Smith conjured or dreamed up a scenario about Linda leaving as an attack on Linda, as vengeance against Linda? I think there'll be some more videos coming about the pond anyway, so, and you can keep that in the back of your mind. So anyway, they do the harvest, and that's about all I need to mention about that video. They then do the harvest, and miserable failure, like most things he does. Got a screenshot here. Now, what we can see here is we've got 2 yellow arrows. First one is a water bottle, and the second one, standing in the doorway there, is Maricel, and she's come out of that hut. So she's come out of Linda's hut. So they've done the harvest on the 19th. That water bottle looks very much similar to the water bottle Linda went and filled up, and still got some water in it, which she took out to the pond before they did the harvest. and Maricel had been in that hut, and she was coming out of that hut on the video. So I'll be showing it in a minute, but in that hut was all Linda's bedding and some bags containing pots and pans and some other quite a bit of stuff, and probably the unopened water bottle. So Maricel would have seen that Linda hadn't packed up all her stuff at that time. So that was on the 19th. Now, do you think she would have said to Brian, hey, there's all still stuff in here? Do you think she would have just looked and not said anything? I find that very hard to believe also. So, when did Brian upload the first video saying Linda quit and took all her property? Well, he wouldn't have been able to have time to do it between leaving that pond when he did the checkup when Linda was leaving and when he did the harvest, because there was only a couple of hours. So there's no way he would have had time to go and upload that onto YouTube, because it was uploaded on the 19th. So that had to be after the shrimp pond. So most likely after they would have known there was Linda's stuff was still in that hut. So anyway, that's the 19th of the 9th, 21. That's the fish harvest. And then Menina goes back the next day and she uploads a video of that. So I've got the transcript of that. It's called Update 09/2021, late upload, very busy. So it's an upload of the 20th of the 9th, 21, so the day after the harvest. And when she says late upload, she uploaded it the next day. So it wasn't uploaded that very day. And it's Crazy Menina channel. With the transcript with Menina, it's very broken. It's difficult to read because, one, the way she speaks with her English, and obviously it's hard for the computer to translate her as with fluent English, but also she sort of jumps around a little bit. But anyway, I'm going to read here from the start. Guys, go home, my house, because what you call that one's not finished at Linda here. So Linda's not finished at the hut, she's saying. She's out at the shrimp pond. She's going to go home because Linda's not finished at the hut and she's here working. Let him to sleep at my house tonight. And she's talking about Daniel. She's going to let Daniel sleep at her house that night, the night after the harvest, the 20th. Yeah, then tomorrow morning, my sweetie, he come to bring him home because a lot of things that Ate Linda. And then, so she says, Daniel's going to sleep at her house, Linda's going to stay at the hut, and John is going to come the next day and pick up all of the rest of Linda's stuff. But remember, Linda quit and she took all the stuff with her, didn't she? So then she says about a neighbour heard something at fish pen, Auntie Linda something. And she says, and because he said after they finished, they were visiting last night. We came there, that the guys finish to harvesting. So they've gone there after the harvest. Linda stayed there the night of the harvest, and they've dropped Linda back there after that they've done the harvest. So they are the owner, and gave us something, and she talks about Linda getting some fish, and she's going to do some dried fish. So then Menina goes on to say that Linda had done 50 or 60 lengths of nipper for her, nipper, and that she'd ordered 100, and that Linda was going to stay at the hut and complete the order. So the nipper it's produced from palm leaves that grow around the pond, and Linda was going to make lengths because Menina needed some. They were doing their house, and I think they were doing the Surrey store then, and Linda wanted to fulfill that order, so she was staying at the hut, and that's why Daniel was going to stay with Menina that night. So that's all I'm going to do on that at the moment. There is another video coming in relation to the nipper, which is another matter, but we will be doing something more on that. I will be. So Brian Smith did go out the next day. They were only there for a short time, and but there was nothing really talked about then that on that video. But the very next day, which is the 22nd, 22nd of September, and Menina put up a video done hauling things for Linda, and so this is a video about John going back to the shrimp pond, and he collects all Linda's stuff and moves it for Linda. So John pulls up at the pond where they leave their vehicles, and Linda's brought all her stuff down. She's got it all in a pile there. So this is just a snapshot of the video. Where the arrow is, that's Linda sitting there with all her property. And just to get a bit closer in on that, this is the property that Linda's got. So she's got bedding, she's got bag with pots and pans and bowls or stuff there, and like a hot water thermos in that bag and some other stuff, and she's got a heap of pot plants. So this was still at the pond. All this property was still at the pond. So Linda hadn't taken all her property. This property was still at the hut. So when Marisol walked in, all this stuff would have still been there. All that stuff would have still been at the inside the hut. So no way she could have missed it. So they knew that Linda hadn't left. They knew that Linda was still staying there. So it was just all lies about Linda leaving and quitting. And it was all a story to turn his viewers against Linda. And that's why I say it was pure vengeance that he wanted to do that. He wanted people to dislike Linda. And so that didn't make him look like the piece of crap that he is. You know, oh, it was all Linda's fault, she abandoned me, I'm the victim. That's what he was doing. He's playing the victim card again. The same as he was with Mitch. You know, remember, Mitch asked me to go and look after his farm. Mitch reached out to me. No, you reached out to Mitch. Mitch didn't reach out to you. So again, he's doing the old Brian Smith is the victim and everyone is against me and done the wrong thing by me. So that's pretty much these videos. I think I've well and truly proved that he told lies about Linda. He told lies to benefit himself. So basically, at every twist and turn, he's kicked Linda in the guts to make his viewers not like Linda. I also think part of it was about John and Menina, because I don't believe, from what I've seen, that they were Brian was talking to them because they were helping Linda, and they were also letting the trolls have a say on their channel, same as Elnora. Exactly why he turned on Elnora, because they were letting the trolls have a say on their channel. So you can make up your own mind, but I can't see how you can come to any other conclusion that Brian Smith told lies to benefit himself, to put a female Filipina down, to basically defame her, to assassinate her character, and for that, I think that's absolutely disgusting. Just another thing here. Brian Smith said that Linda had left. Linda had left and quit on the 19th. Now, on the 23rd of the 9th, 21, Brian Smith has uploaded a video. It's called Our Last Visit to the Shrimp Pond. And yes, it's Brian Smith, foreigner farming in the Philippines. And an interesting thing he says here, says the night of the harvest, her daughter, so this is the owner of the pond's daughter. Okay, I'll start from the, we were just by Winetta's house, or Winetta's house place, which is the owner of the pond. She had, the night of the harvest, her daughter was here, and they were picking through what was left in the mud on the pond. And it was her net that we used to plug at the end of the chute. So when you do the harvest, you let the take the boards out of the thing, the water rushes out, and there's like ones I've seen before have got a round like a pipe, and you put a net over that. As the water rushes out, the prawns go in the net and the water goes through the net. So that's what they're talking about, the net to go over there. It was the harvest net for the shrimp. So Brian had used it for the harvest, and she said, yeah, it's okay. Well, just put it back in the hut. And we just talked to Vanessa, and the net's gone. I guess someone came back that next day and stole it. And now it seems like all the boards have gone. All the boards and the gate are gone. So yeah, thievery is afoot. Now, if they'd used that net on the day of the harvest, or the evening of the harvest, and put it in that hut, then they would have then seen that all Linda's stuff was in there. So how they can say that Linda had deserted them and left is preposterous. And Linda had come back that night and stayed there. She stayed there the next night, and for them to denigrate Linda like that, to me, a Filipino female, helpless female, pretty much, is absolutely disgusting. And that's why I'm doing these videos. Now, if Linda was staying there, so one, the net couldn't have been stolen. And if it was, what's he saying, Linda did it? Is he calling Linda a thief there? And if so, is he just making up stories again to be the victim? Is he just telling a lie that the net was actually put in the hut? But if he did put the net in the hut, he would have seen all Linda's stuff there. So you can make up your own mind. Did Brian Smith tell lies about Linda? I think I've more than proved that he did, and that the only reason I can see for that is, one, to benefit himself and as vengeance against Linda and possibly even Menina. So thank you for watching the video. Subscribe, thumbs up, thumbs down, share, and can't wait for the next one. Thank you.